Hey y'all, hey, I'm back with another video. So, I have completely fallen off of doing my reviews for this, but I did take notes for Pod Wives episodes, I think 3. I just didn't record it. But since we're already here at 4, let's do that. If you guys would like me to go back and do a review of that one, I can. What I will address, hold on, before we even get there. Happy Cowboy Carter Eve to those that celebrate. Okay? My girl's starting her tour. First date is tomorrow. My date not until fucking July. It's April 27th right now. It's crazy. I got a while. But anyway. So, Pod Wives. Now, kind of going up to this episode, it was pretty much kind of put out there that Ice and his girl, aka Mrs. Missing Piece, was gonna also be on the show too. So I'm like, okay, very interested in stuff. So before we actually get on to like this week's episode or whatever, let me address something really fast that Kino said in the last Pod Wives. I know that was a big thing when it happened then, but I'm gonna address it now. On the last pod, it was brought up, because Kino and his girlfriend Edith are now on this show. Edith is a white woman. And Sade had kind of brought up, like, is there any differences, with, you being black and the black and white thing. And throughout his whole little soliloquy, Kino proceeds to say that he prefers white women sometimes because they are willing to help mold a man, or kind of like wait as a man is being molded, versus black women. We want the man to come already made. We don't want to stick around. We don't want to like stay there as they come up with. We want them to come signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. But this is the whole crazy thing about that, Kino. This be my problem with interracial dating. I don't care who you date. You could be black and date somebody white, gold, purple, indigo. But why is it that you have to shit on the people that you don't? Why can't you just date whoever you want to date? So that's number one. But number two, Kanye literally said, and when he get home, he leave your ass for a white girl. And he actually did that. That has always been a thing that black men and black women, they be together during the black man's whole come up. And then the minute that black man gets on, he leaves her for a white woman. That is something that has been said forever. And not just said, but it's been clearly like exampled out. I would say more so to me, like once you start to hit certain tax brackets, that's kind of how it is. I would say on my average everyday moving in and about my black ass life, I don't really see a lot of black men with white women, like on an average. But once we start to hit a certain tax bracket, yes, I could sit up here and name so many. It's just way too many examples that we can sit here and give of that. So the whole idea that, oh, black women want their man already signed, sealed, delivered, and made and don't want to ride out with them, that's bullshit. And it's bullshit by everything that I just said. And on top of that, most importantly, and this is something I think that's important going into watching Pod Wives, is I feel like Kino and a lot of the other men, especially like Joe, their perceptions, and when they're talking about women, a lot of times they're talking about a specific type of woman. Because they are all within the entertainment field, a lot of them tend to deal with other girls that would be connected to the entertainment industry. So strippers, maybe other famous, people or models, but people that are more so within that entertainment realm. So I feel like a lot of the times when Joe and Kino and some of them are talking about women, they're talking about a specific type. The Insta model, the stripper, the bottle girl. That's who they're talking about. So if we're talking about that specific demographic, then sure, yeah, a lot of them, from my understanding, do want you to come with something, but that makes all the sense in the world because they got a bag. So they want their nigga to come with a bag. But I think that part, the fact that they're all in entertainment, which is something that was brought up later about like, how are you, like as the women, how do you deal with the man that's in entertainment? I think that that's important to remember because Pod Wives, as entertaining as it is, and a lot of like similarities and stuff, I would say that, you know, you can take from everybody's relationship and apply across the board. I do think we have to understand that this is within a vacuum. These couples and the way that they operate, and it's not necessarily the same as everyone else's, as somebody else brought up, which is like they don't work regular, you know, like jobs or work 9 to 5s or whatever. So expectations, the way that they handle things is going to be different than probably the average viewer. So I think that that's also important too. So for example, Sade and Joe, right? I really like Sade. I think she's a very beautiful woman. Like I said in my last review, I do think that there are a little bit of immature things about Sade, but I think the same applies for Joe as well, which is why I think they're on the same, like they just work well, because Sade is a little bit immature, but so is Joe to me. So it's like it kind of clicks in that way. But all of that to say is I see sometimes people like judge Sade sometimes, kind of about like the way that she handles certain things with Joe. Like, so for example, like her always checking his phone, her always like being worried about like, you know, Instagram and this and that or whatever. But I feel like Joe is somebody of a prominent name. So it's not the same as if like my dude like somebody like, you know, like some Instagram model's picture, right? The likelihood of her reaching out to him or him reaching out to her like with success is very lower compared to maybe a Joe Budden. That could possibly lead into something. Now I will say that I've never been one of those type of women that's like, I'm checking my nigga's phone all the time. Where you at? Which we'll get to the location thing. What you doing? Who's here? Why'd you like this? Why'd you like that? Because I feel like that's exhausting. Like on both sides, I feel like as the person doing all of that research, that's exhausting. And I feel like as the person that constantly has to hear somebody's mouth about that, that's exhausting. But that's just me. But I will say that I think there needs to be a little bit of grace given to Sade in the sense of that her concerns, although at the end of the day, Joe has to be the one to pull the trigger, and Joe has, from everything it seems like probably did some stuff he shouldn't have when it comes to Sade. So between that lack of trust from there and the fact that he's somebody of notable name, so him just liking a picture is not the same as Daryl, who works at Walmart, liking somebody's picture. Half the time it's probably might be put on the shade room that he did it. You know what I mean? So I feel like we should give Sade grace in that sense. Like, her nigga is not the everyday nigga. So her concerns about like other women wanting like Joe are a little bit more valid. We just may not all necessarily agree on how she goes about it, but not typical Sade, because that really is my girl. And she was sitting at the Knicks game. I tagged her on this. Shout out to her for liking the tweet. But I tagged her on the fact that little picture with like Joe and 50 Cent or whatever, sitting, face was beat. Glasses. My girl was sitting. Anyway, so let's move on. So start the episode or whatever, you know, introduce everybody there. Jules is pregnant, so it's like, congratulations to Jules. I don't know if I should probably go couple by couple. I think I'll give my wrap up on couples by couple by the end of this, but let's just keep going. So first topic that they go through is, why does it take women so damn long to get ready or whatever? You know, and a lot, the girls are kind of like, well, some of the girls are like, it's not that it takes forever, or it does take forever, but like, if you tell me in enough time, then I'll make sure that I'm ready. And the guys are like, if we supposed to be there at 5, I tell you 3 so that it can be on time. This is my whole thing personally, right? It does take a little bit of time to like get ready, because, you know, as a woman, you got your whole bathroom situation. Everybody's bathroom routine is different. Then, you know, outfit, you got to do your hair. For me, the longest piece is always an outfit and my hair. Even if I have like a sew-in or like hell, even a wig, me actually getting my hair together, flat ironing it, making sure it don't look crazy, it's sitting correctly, insane. And I don't wear makeup, so if you put on top of that somebody that actually wears makeup, that's an additional 30 minutes. Now my thing is, yes, it takes me sometimes a while to get ready, but kind of like maybe Sade had said, I ask, because I'm a really big stickler when it comes to time. I do not like being late. Like, it's one of my top pet peeves is when I'm late. Like, other people being late, it's whatever. I don't care. But when I'm late to something, it drives me through the roof. So if I know that I have to leave the house by like 5, I'm going to start getting ready at 3 because I got to get myself ready. And then don't take into consideration if you have children, and if you have like small children like I do. I have an 18-month-old. If I got to get me and her out of the house by 5 o'clock, I might back that shit up to 2 o'clock, depending on the situation. And then it's like trying to also get the house together before you leave. Like, it's a lot of little different things that we do as women. But the reason why we be late is because of him. So when Ice was like, oh, I don't even put my clothes on until she's actually done, that's what he does. And then guess what? We end up late because of that very reason. And it pisses me off every time because I'm like, you just sat here watching me run around this house for 2 hours trying to get ready. And the minute that I'm ready, now you are putting on your clothes. Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Oh, I da 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 da. And then you're taking your time. That's why we end up late. It pisses me off so damn much. You don't even know, okay? So then we go to Keno and Edith. And they talk about, like the idea of like watching shows ahead of each other. Let me tell you, I've given up. I think Keno might have took it a little bit too far, but we had years ago, we used to get into really big arguments about that. This is how I look at it. If we start a show together, like it's a show that we both said we would like to watch together, then I do think it's rude when the other person's not there to continue to watch the story, right? Now, if I started something and then you just decided to jump in on it, no, I'm not stopping for you. But that's really how it is. But what I've learned throughout my relationship is it don't even matter. Everybody clearly gonna do whatever they want to do as far as watching, and I don't even care no more. Another thing is, dependent for me personally, right? If we let's just say we find a show, and if the show has 4 or 5 seasons back to back, sometimes I'll want to take a break from the show so we could watch all of season 1, and then I'll be like, all right, let's go watch something else, and then we'll come back to season 2. Versus him, he wants to keep watching until it's the end. Me, I like to break it up a little bit. So from that standpoint, I just said, do whatever you want to do. But anyway, Keno said that I think that she had brought up watching Adolescence or something like that. And so when he found out that she had watched it all, then he got upset. But the thing is, like I said, she had already started watching it, and she told him, well, then we should, try to watch it together or whatever. I think that's different. She just went ahead and watched the rest of it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But Keno got so damn mad that when he went in town to go and see her, he was like, oh, I caught an Uber myself. She was supposed to come and get me. I didn't let her come and get me. And I went and I stayed at a hotel. Let me tell you something. Keno is immature as fuck. That's what we've learned over the last 2 episodes with Keno. I think Joe said that he's watched back a few episodes, so he's going to change the way he does things because he don't like the way he looks. And Keno was saying the same thing. Well, y'all not doing a great job. Y'all not doing a great job at all. It wasn't that daggone real that you had to go. And the reason I'm saying that is because in the last episode, he talked about how he breaks up with Edith every other damn day. He was like, oh, I just broke up with her right before this podcast. How old are we? How old are we that we're still behaving in that manner? And for Keno to have gone through not 1, but 2 daggone divorces, and for you to continuously act the way that you act, it don't make sense to me. It makes sense why you got the 2 damn divorces, I'll tell you that much. It makes sense why you got the 2 damn divorces. Because if you was acting anything like you're acting now, how you were acting back then, but I think he even took responsibility though on maybe one of the pods, not pod wives, but a Patreon where he said he really fucked up, maybe his first or second marriage or whatever. But the thing is, where the fuck is the growth? Because breaking up with somebody every 5 seconds is some shit that we did in high school. Oh, you didn't watch the show that I wanted to watch, so I'm gonna go to a hotel by myself. And he's like, it's not that, it's the principle. What principle? What? How old are we, Keno? How old are we? And if you really want to have a real conversation about it, not to make it a black and white thing, but a lot of times that reason right there is why some black men decide to deal with white women, because a black woman ain't never going to go for that. Like Sade said, I wish Joseph would try me and not come home. Sometimes the white women are going to let you get away with some shit that as a black woman, we would never. Child, bye. Keno needs to grow the fuck up is what that pretty much came down to, right? And then, but they also said that they literally discuss every single show that they're gonna watch together. That's their relationship. That's how they do. I don't do that because I think Ice's girl's name is Cece. So she kind of said the same. They said that they kind of do the same thing. Me and my dude, our tastes are just so different when it comes to television. So we don't really watch a lot of stuff together. Like, there are certain shows that we do, like, that maybe catch him, or like, I'm gonna tell y'all, he ain't gonna never admit to this, but this is the honest to God truth. I be finding the shows, and then because he be playing the game and I be sitting there next to him while he be playing the game, he be hearing the shows that I watch and they be fired. And then he be looking from the side and he be like, what's that? And he be like, oh, just put that on. So like, The Office, that was me. Invincible, that was me. Yellow Jackets, that was me. Vikings, that was me, bitch. He not going to admit to that, but I'm telling you, y'all know the little TikToks where it be like, the girl be watching something and the guy be like, oh, that's some stupid shit. And then next thing you know, they be sitting there watching. That's what happened with Traders. Promise. But anyway, everybody's different. Then we get into the whole deleting your history, deleting your Insta history, because Joe said that he felt like Sade had deleted her history, because only his name was in the thing. This is the thing, like, Sade and some other people said, I do the same thing, but it's not because I'm trying to like hide anything. Like she said, it's like a ADD or ADHD. It's something like that. I can't stand to see all of those things like that, because a lot of times when I'm searching, I am searching for like something in particular, or like not something, but somebody in particular. I don't need to keep seeing that. Like, get it out of here, because that was 3 months ago that I looked up fucking a little twist to see if he was alive. I don't care to see him on my search now. Get him out of here. So I don't necessarily think that there's anything wrong with deleting your Instagram history, your search history. Now, your messages, sure, but your Insta history, I don't know, that don't really bother me nearly as much, right? So then we get into the story that Ian tells. He says that he had got a text from a random number, and he was like, I wanted to wait to the pod to bring it up or whatever. So he pretty much says that he got like this text message from this random number of somebody being like, oh, do you know who this is? And then he was like, I just pretty much engaged because I'm trying to figure out who this is. And the person was pretty much like flirting, and Jules was like, what? Like, what are you even talking about? And this is the whole thing. I'm sorry. Again, I understand that this is real people with real lives and in real relationships. But in my opinion, I'm sorry, I'm with the comment section when they talk about Ian and Jules' relationship. Specifically, how Ian is towards Jules. I'm not saying that this is how it is. Let me be clear. I'm not saying that this is how I'm saying everything I'm saying is how it comes across. Not anything I'm saying is not a fact. Because I'm going to get into some shit about Ice, and I know he's sensitive as fuck. So be clear. I'm not saying this is how you are as people. I'm telling you how it's coming across to us as the viewing audience. Ian, it comes across to the viewing audience as if Jules literally is the least important thing in his life. Like, everything comes before Jules. And it comes off like he constantly like disregards her a little bit and disrespects her. Like, and when I mean disrespect, I don't mean like he talks badly to her. I'm talking about in his actions of how he deals with her. It comes off, Ian, like he could give a fuck about Jules really in her feelings. So to say that she was in bed next to you while this random number is texting you, and you said, oh, I was bored in bed, and you don't see nothing wrong with that. And it also comes off to the audience like the mighty dollar is much more important than anything else, especially it comes to Jules. Because the fact that you waited to this moment and to use that situation for this podcast, I think that says a lot. Let's also get into the next thing that they talked about. So Ian and Jules yeah, Ian and Jules bring up how obviously she's pregnant, right? And so she said that he refuses to take off of work or whatever for 2 weeks because she asked, when the baby first gets here, can you please take off 2 weeks to just spend time? And Ian said, absolutely not. Now, initially, me and every other woman that's up there was disgusted because what do you mean no? As y'all can see, I'm in my baby's room, right? You see the swinger, you see the crib. My kid is 18 months old. I think her father had maybe a week of paternity leave, I think. I wish it could have been much, much longer, but hold on. We'll get into it, right? So Ian says that somebody said, well, it's not like he works a regular 9 to 5, right? He's working from home the majority of the time and it's mostly just phone calls. So I don't know. So Ian was like, she pretty much wants me to take 0 phone calls for 2 weeks. I can't take 1 phone call at all. And he's like, and Jules was like, when I brought that up, he was like, oh, my whole empire is gonna crumble if I don't show up for 2 weeks and da 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 da. Somebody said to the effect of like, maybe it was Ian that said like, I'm gonna be there or whatever. So like, what is the point or whatever? Like, you just want me to sit around and do nothing for 2 weeks? This is my whole thing about this. This is my whole thing. I get it from both sides, but let me talk as a new mom. I'm gonna talk as a new mom. Those first few weeks, hell, them first couple months, hell, that first year, but specifically, let's talk about the time frame, because that's what it is. He said, why should I be locked into a certain time frame? What about those first 2 weeks versus every other time matters? Those first 2 weeks are so critical. And it blows my mind, and maybe they didn't cut it out, but maybe they cut it out, but it blows my mind that nobody really spoke to that particular part. She is a first-time mom. Same way you're a first-time dad. Those first 2 weeks are so critical as far as needing help. And yes, she may have her mom, she may have this person, but at the end of the day, once those 2 weeks is up, it got to be y'all two that's in the house. But those first 2 weeks are so important. It's hard mentally, it's hard physically. When I had my baby, I was sad so much because when I gave birth, I popped my damn tailbone out of place. Literally, my tailbone was popped out of place when I gave birth. So it was hard for me to sit down comfortably. I could not sit down without being in pain. So when I had first brought my daughter home, it was so hard because all I wanted to do was be able to sit down with her and hold her, and I couldn't because it was so fucking painful outside of the baby blues and everything else. So I think 2 weeks was actually fair for her to ask for. Now, I do think it's a little different with the fact that he does not work a regular 9 to 5. What they talked about a little bit later is what I think it should have been, which is like, I'm not saying you can't take any phone calls at all, but can you, for the first 2 weeks of this baby's life, just scale it back a bit? I'm not saying don't take anybody, but similar to like, granted he doesn't work a 9 to 5, but you should have times that's blocked off where people do not bother you. And my thing is similar. This is my thing. The same thing that they say to Ish about, oh, why can't you get somebody to run this and to run that and to run this so that you could do whatever it is that you need to do really fast. The same thing applies to Ian and them. Y'all got a big enough not a big enough company. Yes, Ian is really important in that. But the thing is, y'all should have built it to where Ian can take off a week and everything not crumble. I think that says a lot. The fact that he can't take 2 weeks off without it all crumbling, to me, says that y'all need to adjust y'all business as such. Because you should be able to walk out as the boss for 2 weeks and your shit not crumble. If that is the case, I'm not even being like mean when I say it, but this is the honest to God truth. If you as the boss can't leave for 2 weeks without your shit crumbling, you need to be rethinking and restructuring your entire business. I'm not saying now weeks and months on end, obviously, but if you can't leave your business for 2 weeks because you have fears that it's all gonna crumble, that says more about you in the way that your business is structured than anything else. And you need to work on that. That's just my opinion on that. But like I said, he should have at least made it to where he can block off like certain times. Like, okay, between 8 And you need to start running it like a 9 to 5 for those 2 weeks. Be like this. In the morning time between 6 and 12, I'm going to do meetings and do emails. From 12 to 4, I'm going to spend time with the baby. From 4 to 8, I'm going to hop on the phone with Joe. But it needs to be structured and scheduled out like that. Like, kind of like, he did kind of bring up, like, possibly, making sure that he has blocks of time with the baby. But that's how that should have been explained. But then, Ian goes on to say, like, how he feels, he's feeling like he's having an identity crisis. And he was like, I don't feel like Jules is really helpful in that, because I say that to her and she's like, well, what is it that you want me to say? And I love that everybody jumped in and said, you talk to somebody else about that. Talk to somebody else about that, because you don't want your negative energy to be passed on to her and passed on to the baby. So they talked a lot about, like, being stressed out and stuff, because Ian pretty much said that ever since, like, she's been pregnant, her rage has been, like, times 10. I think everybody mood swings is, like, different. Obviously, everybody cravings are different when they're pregnant. So when I was pregnant, I craved green beans. Nothing else weird. People will always ask. No, it was just green beans. I would literally make big pots of green beans and just sit there and eat the whole thing. Like, that is what I was obsessed with. But as far as, like, my mood was concerned, ask him. He'll tell you. He always says that that's the nicest I've ever been. I was so nice then. Like, it was the most pleasant I've ever been. And the reason being is because, like they talked about, I know that energy is a real thing. And especially when you're pregnant, if you're stressed out, that's why the doctor always tell you don't be stressed out, because that shit will be passed on to the baby. If you're not in a good mood, that passes on. Arguments, they can hear things. So for me, when I was pregnant, everybody got a free pass for a whole year. I didn't care if I knew for a fact I was right and they was wrong. I would just be like, okay. And not just say okay, but really mean it. Because I refused to make myself feel sad or down outside of, like, my, my hormones or whatever. I wasn't doing it with nobody. So as far as the whole mood change and stuff, I think that just kind of depends, like, person to person for sure. He wants, like, a big wedding, get me a huge ring or whatever. And I just want to go to the courthouse. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to find, like, a nice little medium there or whatever. But, yeah, Joe pretty much said that he just want to, like, go get married and then get the wedding and everything later. Everybody, you just got to kind of pretty much figure out what works for you. So then we get on to the whole sharing of location. So do you share your location of your significant other? Parks and Rem said they do. Ice and CC said that they do as well. Now, before I get into this, because let me say what I said before about Ian, and this applies to everybody, but I want to say it again, because Ice is very sensitive, it seems, when people critique him, right? What I am going to say, it's not what I do not know any of these people. So everything that I'm saying is how it comes across. I am not saying that you are these things, that this is your true and blue feelings. I'm saying that as a viewer that is consuming something for entertainment purposes, this is how it's coming across. So the same way that Joe said he went back and he watched and he saw the way that he came across and he don't like it, Kino said the same thing as well. So all I'm saying is that this is how it's coming across. Now, the whole sharing of location thing, right? I feel like there are two reasons why people share locations. And I think Parks and Rem and Ice and CC are the examples of why, of the two different reasons. Rem said, I share my location with Parks because I'm just like, I got real bad, like, I'm weird about that type of shit. I got real bad anxiety about somebody doing something to me, somebody kidnapping me. So I want Parks to have my location at all times. She said, even when I get an Uber and stuff, I make sure that I send that out. No, that's the main thing I do too. When I get an Uber, I make sure I send those details out. But she was like, that's why I do it. And then Parks was saying the same thing, right? And then Ice and CC pretty much said the same thing as well. But it kind of came up, this conversation kind of led into why I'm going to say this statement. I think that CC has, Ice's location because she's not sure where he is at times. And I think the same of Ice. So all that to say is that I think that some people, they have each other's locations because it's genuinely at the core, at the top of the list. It's really safety. And then you have other people who it's safety, but it's also because I want to make sure you ain't out here in these streets doing something that's wrong. And he kind of sort of admitted to that to a degree, which is why Ian asked later, do you think that Ice is insecure? We will get to that in a second. So they talk about how Cece went out for Valentine's Day, right? Now, initially she said she was going to do a sleepover. Cool. Then she said she wasn't going to do the sleepover. She was actually going to come home after they went out, which, around 2 a.m. And she said the club was supposed to close around 2 a.m. So, come home around it. So, goes out or whatever. And she said the club stayed open like a little bit past like 2 a.m. or whatever. So she said, I said like around 2 a.m., I texted her because she wanted me to get her a Uber home. So I texted her or whatever. Now, the way that Ice made it seem when he was telling the story is that she was going way blocks of time of like ignoring his text messages and barely saying anything back or whatever and taking so daggone long. But when he actually read like the time slots, like, of like the text messages, it wasn't that far apart. So like Cece ended up saying, your issue is that I didn't text you back immediately. But the thing is, I am out. So yes, I said I was going to be home around 2 a.m. because the club closes around 2 a.m. So if the club was actually closing on time, she probably would have, like you said, been home when she says around general time, because that's when the club closes. Normally the club starts to wind down when it's like really closing, maybe around like 1:30ish. It's gonna start to close down if it's like wind down if it's 2 a.m. So I'm pretty sure between that time frame she probably would have been able to hit him up and then get out of there. But because of the fact that it stayed open a little bit longer, like she said, I'm out and I'm having a good time. I'm not really paying attention to the time frame because the club is still open and it's still going. So when you text me at 2 a.m., she probably was like, I didn't even realize like what time it was. That's how it is when you're out and about and you're actually having a good time. Pretty sure there was alcohol involved and stuff like that. But between going out, you're in the club, like she said, a lounge or whatever, there's music, you got your friends, it's alcohol. No, I'm not like this to my phone, especially if she's not the type of girl to like be like, on Insta or like on whatever hell, Snap, whatever the hell she gonna be on. Then, like she said, you were just simply mad because I did not text you back immediately. And like all of the women set up there, not all of them, but Rem and Sade, that's Ice was being absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's not like you texted her around 2 and she didn't respond back until 3 a.m. It was like 5 to 10 minute increments in between. And like she said, if I'm at the club, right, probably already a little tore up, I'm throwing ass in a circle. I'm doing that. I'm chopping up. I'm talking to my friends. We having conversations. The music is going. I'm not paying attention to the damn time. And again, it's one thing if he would have texted her and then maybe 30 minutes later, it's like 45 minutes in between each text message. What are we talking about? You mad because you texted her at 2 o'clock and at 2:01 she didn't text back? Like what kind of shit is we on? So all of that to say is that's why Ian asked, do you think that Ice is insecure, like within your relationship? You could tell she wanted to answer like Joe said, but she didn't really want to get into it. So she said, when we're not together, yes. When we're not together, yes, I think that he can be at times. And my thing is, again, Lord, let me make sure I'm saying this correctly. This is how it comes across. Not saying that you are Ice. This is how it comes across. It comes across like Ice is not just insecure within like his relationship. It comes off like that's just like the kind of person that he is. Because even when it comes to the main pod, people say all the time, you can't really joke on Ice because he takes it way too seriously. The same way, like the one time he wasn't on the show for one day, and Joe made a real quick joke about him. He comes back the next pod and addresses Joe about it, and it's like, bro, let it go. Like, it comes off again. So to me, it comes off like comes off like, yes, he is insecure, but it's not just in his relationship. It's a bigger thing. It's a bigger thing you got to kind of deal with. So, yeah, that was just like, I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. Like, you're mad because it's 2 o'clock and because she hit you back at like 2:15 when she out. Boy, bye. So then they talk about the age gap, because that kind of leans into that, right? Because I find it funny that Sade said that, well, this sounds kind of childish. I love you, Sade. I know damn well you not talking about childish the way that you and Joe go back and forth over fucking Instagram damn mob. But we're in bartenders. Let's not call people childish now, okay? But she did make a point though, because of the age gap thing, right? So they talk about what's the age gap between Ice and his girl. Ice's girl is 31. Ice is 41. Yes. So I am 30. I know most people don't believe I am 30, right? So yes, I'm probably going to be able to stay out till like 2, 3 in the morning versus, and I'm not trying to be like disrespectful when I say this, because my parents had me very young. They had me when they were 15. My parents are 45, right? So Ice is 42. So I'm just comparing it to that. They asses is ready to go home by like 9, 10 o'clock, wrap it the fuck up. Okay? And even now at the age that I'm at, I could go to bed pretty early. But as far as going out, if my purpose is to go out, then yes. And more importantly, what I didn't understand mostly about the thing with Ice and Cece is he said himself that before they got together, she was pretty much like a mom on her own with 3 kids. So who knows the last time that she had actually went out, and that she doesn't really get to do it a lot. And she didn't really know the next time that she would be able to actually go out and do that. So for you to know that she doesn't even go out like that, and then to still be like that much of a policeman, like, I just thought that was ridiculous. But anyway, I think that says a lot. Like, yeah, I'm probably at the age of 30. Yeah, I'm going to be out and about. I get home and the fuck I get home, because I'm grown as fuck. I'm grown as fuck, and I have 3 kids. Not me, but her. Like, if I'm her, I'm grown as fuck and I got 3 kids. And if you say you want to stay at the house and chill, then do that. It's not like I'm walking in this bitch 4 or 5 in the morning. Which he said that she did come home at like 4 or 5 in the morning, which they disagree about. But we ain't talking about that. We talking about the text messages. It's one thing if you text me at 2 and I didn't text you back until 4 or 5. It's still communicating. So I do think that age gap definitely plays a part there. And then there's a 10-year gap between Rem and Parks. And Rem talks about how specifically when they go out, that's where the difference is like very obvious, because she wants to keep going and he does not. And then with Keno and Edith is 3 years. That's not that bad. Ian and Jules is 5 years. That's not that bad. And then Joe and Sade is 6 years. And then Joe's dumbass going to say, is 10 years a lot? No. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. What are you even talking about, Joe? Of course it's a fucking lot. Of course it's a lot. Good gracious. And so they also talked about like, does your house like have a curfew? And I'm kind of with everybody else. No, because we're all grown around here. But please don't walk in this house at no 4 or 5 in the morning. Like, I think like you better not, like, what's the little saying? You better not let the sun beat your ass home. That type of shit. And to me, as long as there is communication, I don't really care. Just let me know where you're at and where you're going to be at. I don't do the whole sharing location thing, because tell me where you at, and it's really just that simple. I don't got time to be, oh, is he here? He's just going to be here? I don't got time for all that shit. If you should be where you going to be, and if you not where you supposed to be, that's all going to come out in due time anyway, because niggas are stupid. But other than that, not too much more. Keno and Edith, they went to a strip club, and Edith felt some type of way because Keno asked the girl's age, and the girl's 21, and he was like, well, you got into mom mode about it, and you shouldn't have. And it's like, man, Keno gets on my damn nerves. It's not much more to say about him. I didn't really watch the rest of it because, but I think I got the gist of everything I needed to. But y'all get in the comments, tell me what y'all think about this episode. I'm out. Bye.